Today was the 13th day since I first found the stray mother cat and her 5 newborn kittens beneath the tree on the hillside. And it was already their 6th day living safely inside my home after I brought them down from the mountain in the white plastic basket. Every morning, before I even open the door to their room, I can already hear tiny sounds coming from inside. Soft squeaks. Tiny paws moving across blankets. And sometimes the gentle purring of the mother cat. Honestly, those sounds have become one of my favorite parts of the day. When I first found this little family, their future felt uncertain. The mother cat was exhausted and hungry. The kittens were incredibly small and fragile. And they were living beneath a tree with almost no protection from the outside world. But today, things feel very different. This morning, I quietly opened the door and immediately saw all 5 kittens awake. Just a few days ago, they spent most of their time sleeping. Now they seemed to have endless curiosity. The kittens were crawling everywhere inside their little area. One kitten was climbing over a blanket. Another was trying to chase its sibling. A third kitten somehow managed to roll itself into a corner and looked completely confused about how it got there. Watching them made me laugh. They are still tiny, but every day they seem stronger and more adventurous. The mother cat was lying nearby watching them carefully. Even though she finally has a safe place to rest, she never stops paying attention to her babies. Every movement. Every tiny cry. Every little adventure. She notices everything. Today, I wanted to prepare something special for her. Over the past week, she has been eating cat food, chicken puree, salmon puree, and other nutritious meals. But this morning, I prepared fresh chicken breast for her. I carefully cooked the chicken until it was soft and tender. Then I cut it into small pieces and carried it into the room. The reaction was immediate. The mother cat lifted her head before I even reached the basket. Her nose started twitching. Then she slowly stood up and walked toward me. Seeing her respond like that always makes me smile. Because when I first met her, she was too scared to even approach food while I was nearby. Now she confidently walks over and waits patiently. That trust means a lot to me. I placed the bowl on the floor. The mother cat immediately began eating. And she clearly loved it. She took bite after bite of the fresh chicken breast while occasionally glancing back toward her kittens. Even during mealtime, she never completely stops watching them. While she was eating, something happened that surprised me. One of the kittens slowly wandered toward the bowl. Then another followed. Soon 3 kittens were gathered around their mother, staring at the chicken breast with enormous curiosity. I sat down nearby and watched quietly. A few days ago, they barely understood anything beyond sleeping and drinking milk. Now they were interested in what their mother was eating. One tiny kitten stretched its neck forward and carefully sniffed a piece of chicken. Then it gave the chicken a tiny lick. The kitten immediately looked confused. It wasn't quite sure what had just happened. I couldn't help laughing. The mother cat continued eating calmly while the kitten stared at the chicken as if trying to solve a difficult puzzle. A few moments later, another kitten decided to be brave. This one actually tried nibbling a tiny piece. Most of the effort seemed to involve chewing air rather than the chicken itself. But it was definitely trying. And honestly, watching that tiny attempt felt like a huge milestone. These kittens are growing up. Little by little. Day by day. The mother cat seemed completely comfortable allowing them to investigate the food. Occasionally she would lick one of their heads before returning to her meal. The entire scene felt incredibly peaceful. A healthy mother cat enjoying a meal. 5 growing kittens exploring the world around them. And all of it happening inside a warm, safe room. Compared to where they started, the difference feels almost unbelievable. After breakfast, the kittens became even more active. They spent the next hour exploring every corner they could reach. Of course, their idea of exploring is still very funny. Most of their adventures only last a few feet before they get distracted by something else. One kitten discovered a folded blanket and spent several minutes trying to climb it. Another became fascinated by its own tail. A third kitten seemed determined to follow its mother everywhere she went. The mother cat handled everything with remarkable patience. Whenever one kitten wandered too far away, she gently guided it back. Whenever one started crying, she immediately checked on it. She truly is an amazing mother. Watching her care for all 5 babies reminds me how much she sacrificed while living outside. Despite being hungry herself, she protected them. Despite being exhausted, she cared for them. And somehow, she kept all 5 kittens alive until help arrived. That deserves enormous respect. Later in the afternoon, sunlight began shining through the window. The room became warm and bright. The kittens absolutely loved it. Several of them stretched out in the sunlight and fell asleep almost immediately. Others continued their endless exploration. One little kitten climbed onto a sibling and accidentally woke it up. The result was a tiny wrestling match that lasted about 10 seconds before both kittens became tired and fell asleep again. Everything they do is adorable. And every day brings something new. The mother cat spent part of the afternoon resting near the window. Her fur looks much healthier now. Her eyes are brighter. And she has gained some strength compared to when I first found her. Seeing her recovery is almost as rewarding as watching the kittens grow. Because she deserves comfort too. For so long, her entire life was focused on survival. Now she finally has a chance to rest. A chance to eat good food. A chance to raise her babies in safety. As evening approached, I prepared another small portion of chicken breast. This time, the kittens immediately noticed. Several of them hurried over with surprising enthusiasm. They are still very young and continue relying mostly on their mother's milk. But their curiosity about real food is clearly growing every day. One kitten managed to eat a tiny piece successfully. Another spent more time stepping on the chicken than eating it. And the smallest kitten seemed more interested in climbing onto the bowl itself. I laughed the entire time. They are trying so hard to grow up. And every tiny success feels important. Eventually, after all their exploring, playing, and chicken-tasting adventures, the kittens became sleepy. One by one, they returned to their mother. The mother cat settled down on the blanket. Immediately, all 5 kittens gathered around her. Within minutes, the room became quiet. The kittens fell asleep pressed closely against one another. The mother cat wrapped herself around them protectively. And once again, I found myself thinking about that first day beneath the hillside tree. If I had walked past without stopping, I might never have known this family existed. I might never have seen these kittens grow. I might never have earned the trust of their mother. Now, 13 days later, they feel like part of my daily life. Every new step matters. Every small improvement feels meaningful. The kittens are stronger. Their eyes are brighter. Their bodies are growing healthier every day. And the mother cat finally looks peaceful. There is still a long journey ahead for this little family. The kittens have much more growing to do. They still have countless things to learn. But today felt like another important milestone. Not because of anything dramatic, but because of the small moments. The first curious sniff of chicken. The first tiny bite. The first confident explorations around the room. Those little moments are signs of progress. Signs that they are healthy. Signs that they are thriving. And honestly, seeing them safe, warm, and growing stronger together is more than enough to make this day feel special.